Well, good day, good evening to everyone out there in YouTube land. Welcome back to the Boom Tube here for the Thursday night Nitro series. Once again, we're ready to dive in round number 11 here with this series, round number 2 of the Nitro Shootout playoffs presented by Sugar Maple Designs. Drivers are just getting wrapped up with qualifying. We're on the track for warm-up. And that's going to give us some time for a rundown of our current point situation and what's at stake this week at Charlotte. First off, we'll hit our points grid to see what our championship standings are looking like going into this race. Bennett Allen still, of course, sitting atop the points standings at 1,086 points, with Dusty Martin with 1,053. Max Bauman close behind with 1,042. Zach Miller moves up 2 spots from last week, up into that 4th slot with 1,038. And just 2 points behind him is Alex Wiggins. Steve Turner, having missed 1 race, is mathematically out of contention, but has put on a great show this season nonetheless. So that top 5 is what we're looking at this week. Of course, Allen going to be hard to catch with that margin that he has on the rest of the field. That is a whole race worth of points right there. We'll see what he can do. Given the car counts, it's going to make it hard for the drivers behind to catch up, but anything can happen, and I expect it to here tonight at Charlotte. Charlotte, a very competitive racetrack, and one that everybody knows well. That is the catch here at Charlotte. It is an easy track to be fast at, and it's going to be the small details tonight that set apart the good drivers from the great ones. Expect that to be on full display here out of this guy here running in second in the point standings. Dusty Martin put together a great qualifying effort. We'll go ahead and put that on your screen right now. Bennett Allen edged him out by just 0.09 of a second on that second qualifying lap with a 30.21. Sorry, edged out Steve Turner for that spot. 1/10 back, Crank Bell in that 3rd spot. Dusty Martin is going to roll off 4, so he'll be outside 2nd row starting this evening. So he's going to have a little bit of ground to make up, but starting 4th is definitely right in the mix. We saw a great performance out of all these guys. Very close qualifying split throughout the field, so expect a lot of competitive cars here. Max Bauman's going to roll off 5th in the 89. It was an abysmal week last week, but that bit of a cushion saved him from dropping in the points standings too much. Zach Miller is going to roll off 6th with Kyle Nadeau 7th. Barry Knapp 8th in that number 42, and Devin Gentry rolls off P9, the final car in our field here this evening. Interesting note about the sessions put up today. Our admins have made it a little bit more difficult on the drivers here tonight. The qualifying and practice sessions, both at very different points in the day. Practice happening early morning, qualifying midday, where it's going to be hot and slick, as well as the warm-up But the race itself is going to be transitioning from late afternoon to night, so a completely different set of conditions. They know the general feel of the racetrack, but there's going to be a big variance in temperatures, wind, direction, and humidity. That's going to affect how these cars handle in the long run. And if you know Charlotte, you'll know that the colder this track gets, kind of counterintuitively, the looser this track gets, especially with these Xfinity cars with less rear downforce than most of the stock cars we see in the iRacing spread of stock car offerings. So it'll be something for these drivers to look out for as they go throughout the race. Who's going to be able to play that to their advantage? Tire wear will be a factor, but as those temperatures go down, we've seen in past weeks, the tire wear off starts to plateau, and that evens the field between the drivers who are pros at saving and those who are good at just pushing that pace constantly. So it's going to put everyone just a little bit outside their comfort zone. Those are a couple things to look out for at Charlotte Motor Speedway. As always, I'm Adam LeVox, the voice of the Boom Tube, here to bring you the live action for round number 11. This tonight at Charlotte. Next race will be not next week, but the week following at Nashville Super Speedway, where we will crown a champion for this season. On the line tonight for one lucky driver, the winner of tonight's race will receive a signed Elliott Sadler number 1 Junior Motorsports Xfinity Series diecast. So that on your screen is offered by Sugar Maple Designs and Devin Gentry. Thank you so much for the generous donations to the league throughout the season. Glad to shout out Sugar Maple Designs. Go ahead and check those links down in the description of the video if you'd like to get in touch with them, doing some awesome home renovation and general contracting services. Pace car is going to roll off for our pace laps, and we will get this thing underway. You know, the late afternoon sun already in effect here. That could play a bit of havoc for these drivers as well. As they're going to be looking into the sun a little bit as it gets lower down over the racetrack, but shouldn't be too bad. The orientation of Charlotte Motor Speedway means that it'll probably be down behind the Turn 1 grandstands before too long, and it shouldn't really be right down the end of the straightaway as we've seen at some other tracks such as Darlington and others. Might want to have that visor tucked down and maybe a tinted shield for it just in case, though. Good to see everybody in chat. Thank you for tuning in this evening on the Boom Tube, as always. Terry, good to have you back cheering on. Dusty in that 35, looking mighty fine here in the late afternoon sunshine in Charlotte. We'll see what he's got. It looks like everybody up front has some good pace tonight. Gonna be a little bit of strategy, though. Who can figure out the track as it cools off throughout the afternoon? Notice Turn 1 already in shade, so that's going to feel markedly different on entry to Turn 1 from even the exit of that corner, and it's going to feel very different from Turns 3 and 4, which are still in full sun as well. So that'll be some things for those drivers to keep an eye on and kind of feel out as this race progresses. Lights are off on the pace car. We're getting ready to go. Rating Paint's doing its thing. Refreshing some of these paint schemes. Looks like we got a new one for Bennett this week. Pace car is off. We are getting ready to kick off 115 laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, around number 11 for the Thursday Night Nitro Series. Great start for Allen on the inside. It's going to be Turner to the outside as well. All the way to the top line for Allen. Turner follows in his tire tracks. It's Crank Bell to the inside in the 14. Bauman looking on at this battle for second. Bell to the inside. Turner the outside. Bell slides up a little bit on the entry to 3. Keeps it together on exit. Good head of steam for the 14, though, despite using that inside line. Didn't see the momentum we thought we'd see out of the 26 on that high side. Max Bauman pushing the issue. He's going to cut down to the inside of Turner. He wants a piece of that inside line action as well. Big slide for Bauman there. That's going to cost him a lot of momentum. Martin looking on. He's ready to strike on that 89. Tucks it down on the apron to get to the inside. He's making moves early. Down to the inside. Bauman trying to gather things up. He's sticking to the high lane now off of turn 2. We'll see who has the momentum off the corner. Bauman with a good head of steam on exit down the back straightaway. He's going to hold that position for now. In front of them, Bell and Turner still going at it. Allen out to a 1.3 second lead already. Taking a look back here, we got a battle between the team. Between the teammates, Zach Miller, Kyle Nadeau. They've managed to find each other in quite a few races. Right now, their battle is for P6 on the racetrack between these two drivers. Miller had that 2-place gain last week, looking to continue that march up the standings. We'll see how it pans out throughout the night. We got 115 laps on deck. Now 110 remain in the race. Jevin Gentry following up in that Sugar Maple design Ford Mustang with Barry Knapp bringing up the rear of the field in the Hallmar Chevrolet. Battle for second is heating up. Bauman has caught and pushed Turner through to that second spot. Huge head of steam on that outside lane. All 3 cars will bypass Crank Bell down one straightaway. Nothing Bell could do on the inside there. Had a train of 3 cars on the outside coming with a full head of steam. They just steamrolled right on past on the outside. Bauman with a big shunt to the 26, pushes him out, but now he's having a hard time running down Turner for that second spot. Stream high lane, just a couple inches off the fence for Bauman that time. Saw him preferring the low lane, but saw that that was really loose early on. Now I see him going about as high as you possibly can. And it seems to be paying dividends so far. He's able to hang right there and maybe gains a little bit off of 3 and 4 that time. Turner, excellent through turns 1 and 2, is able to pull that gap out by another car length. Here's where Bauman shines, though, able to get that thing wound up off 3 and 4. 26 of Turner, able to build some pretty good momentum that time. We'll see if Bauman can chew into it coming down the straight. Not going to happen. Bell clawing his way back on the outside. He gets around Martin for the 4th position. Little bit of the catch fence there for the 89. That's not going to be good news for Bauman. Looks like no damage to the car, but that's going to hurt the momentum that he had on that outside lane. Squeeze as Martin down to the inside, trying to dragging back a little bit with that side draft. Somewhat successful, but Martin still with the advantage off of turn 2. Dirty air is going to play a big factor here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. With cars being as loose as they are, having another driver take the air off the front of your race car can make it very loose very quickly. So if that driver cuts down and takes away your lane on exit, it can cost you a good bit of that exit momentum that you might have otherwise had coming off the corner. I think that's a little bit of what's keeping Dusty behind Max Baumann right now. I see Baumann gets it wound up on the high side, cuts it down late, kind of takes away the air on exit. That time he stays high the whole way through the corner. Dusty's still clawing back a little bit there. Bell holding Baumann up a little bit, taking that middle lane. That's not sure what Max knows. If Max knows what to do with that, he's kind of taking his entry away. Looks like a high lane entry, but then cuts down to that mid lane and rides that through the corner. Now down to the bottom for Bell. It's Baumann all the way up to that third lane. Martin, great 3 and 4 there. Picks up about a half car length now within a couple feet of the bumper of the 89. Got a great run off turn 4 that time. Now Baumann changes strategies, trying to get a little bit of draft off the 14. Tried hooking into that right rear quarter panel, trying to put some air on the spoiler of the 14 and drag him back to him, but wasn't quite close enough to make it happen that time. Let's see if that compromises turn 3 and 4. It does. Martin gets an edge on the inside. He is going for that spot, but he's blocked by the 14. Nowhere to go right now but to push the 14 through to keep that spot. All the while, Kyle Nadeau has reeled this group in. He's going to be in the mix within seconds. Baumann and Martin need to find a way around that 14. I believe it is holding both of those cars up. Very hard to find a clean way by, though. Nadeau also stuck behind a brick wall of traffic, wondering which lane to go with. 14 is a very, very wide race car right now, as both Martin and Baumann are finding out. Baumann so close to being able to get a nose alongside, just can't quite complete that. Coming off turn 4, losing out a little bit. It's Martin right on the tail of the 89. Nadeau to the inside of Martin now, down to that bottom lane to 3 and 4, gets a nose alongside the quarter panel, packs some air on the spoiler of the 35, and he's going to look for his way into that 4th position. Dusty blocked by Baumann just a little bit. He had to check up off of turn 4. Nadeau setting the pick nicely, giving him no option but to lift in that scenario. Now Nadeau going after the 3rd spot. Sorry, the 4th spot. Baumann's still hanging tight on that outside. It's been an absolute scrap between the 89 and the 35 all race to this point. I had said maybe the 14 was holding them up, but they're doing a great job of holding each other up all on their own at this point in the race. Baumann able to hold station in 5th spot for now. Crank Bell runs 4th with Kyle Nadeau advancing all the way up to third place if he can complete this pass. That's 4 positions gained since the drop of the green flag. Off of turn 4, he'll get it done. Move Nadeau, and then Lowe's 97 machine up to third. Meanwhile, Steve Turner has checked out a 2-second gap on the rest of the field behind him, but ahead of him, and the gap closing, is Bennett Allen. Last few lap times have been marginally faster for Steve Turner to the tune of about a half a tenth per lap. So he has made inroads on that lead for the 15. We'll see what he can do over the course of the long run. Lap times nearly identical. Kyle Nadeau just behind them. Also running identical lap times. It's a 32.13 for all 3 of the top 3 drivers on that last lap. Fastest lap right now belongs to the 15 by just 1/100th of a second over Max Baumann. Max with a 30.63, and Allen just edging him out with a .62. The tire fall off already pretty significant. We're almost to 2 seconds of tire fall off just 25 laps into the run. This is on a hot and slick track, so expect that behavior to change. Expect those tires to plateau on the speed fall off just a little bit sooner as we continue throughout the evening. Last lap a little bit faster for Allen. Turner stumbles just a little bit, 0.2 off the pace that time, but it's Nadeau who holds the fastest lap on track. Taking a look back in the pack, Miller and Gentry both have caught the 14 for the 5th position. This battle starting to heat up. Gentry, coming from quite a deficit, had gotten quite a bit behind Miller, but Miller really struggling to get around the 14. We mentioned earlier how good at defending Frank Bell has been so far this evening, but Bell starting to feel the burn on those Goodyear Eagle tires, and he's about 2/10 off the pace of the two cars behind. Miller bottom lane. Bell's still holding that mid lane we've seen most of the afternoon so far. Gets him a combination of the mid-corner speed and the good exit momentum that we've seen. That's allowed him to be so good on defense throughout the evening. Now all the way up against the fence in 3 and 4. Miller with the advantage to the inside and the run coming off of turn 4. Looks like he's going to clear before turn 1. Gentry trying to follow through as well. 14 to Bell's trying to come back on the outside. Does he have enough to make it stick? That right rear suffering a little bit. You see with the 38 generally getting a better drive off the corner, a little better rear bite on that race car at present. Look at the momentum on the high line through 3 and 4, and just the amount of yaw in that number 14 Chevrolet running that high line. Has that thing absolutely hung out. It pays off. Craig Bell reclaims the 5th spot. Up ahead of them, Nadeau has caught and passed Turner for second. Turner nearly half a second off pace last lap. 26, I believe, is starting to feel the punishment that those tires have endured in trying to run down Bennett Allen. Now it's Kyle Nadeau who takes up the torch and sets his sights on the lead. Back to the 5th place battle. It's Gentry down to the inside, trying to make inroads on Miller. Miller still has his sights squarely on the back end of the 14 car. Martin now struggling quite a bit, has fallen back through the field a substantial amount. Lap time still right around the same or better than the cars around him. Actually right on pace with the leaders, but has fallen back through the running order substantially. You see a little bit loose coming off a turn 2 that time. Maybe had a bit of an episode at some point that lost him some momentum and track position. Back up here, it's still an all-out brawl for 5th place. Miller trying to work his way by. Still has not been able to make it happen. Now Miller to the inside. He sends it all the way to the bottom. Full send. Here comes Crank Bell to be the first car on pit lane here on lap number 36. Just past 1/4 distance here for tonight's race. We'll keep an eye out and see if this starts to force the hand of anybody else in the field, if they see that and decide they're going to come down and take some fresh Goodyear tires on their race cars as well. This is about the expected fuel run we can see out of these race cars. Big slide for the 26. He's going to be wanting fresh tires in that thing as well. Off turn 2, nearly lost it. Good bit of car control there by Steve to hang on to that thing, keep it from going nose first to the inside wall. Elects not to come into pit. He's staying on sequence with the rest of the leaders. Back in the 8th spot, Barry Knapp has found his footing. He's had very good pace, on pace with the top 3 in the field the last few laps. He's found something in that 42 car, and he's beginning to inch ever closer to that 35 of Dusty Martin. The closer he can manage to get, the better, because that increases his chances of being able to overtake in the pit lane, should he be able to rip off a faster pit stop than the 35. You say, well, aren't all the pit crews the same here in iRacing? They are the same, but the speed at which they begin the stop, the speed it takes them to get to the tires and start hitting the lug nuts, depends on your positioning in the pit box, and how quickly you get that car stopped once you're in the pit box, and also how you exit. Don't want to spin the tires too much, but you want to do it just enough to be on that edge of grip, get that thing up to speed as fast as possible. Knapp's going to hit pit lane. Bauman is well out of the 5th spot. Sorry, out of the 4th spot for Bauman in the 89. What will the leader do? It's been exactly equal lap times the last couple laps for Allen and Nadeau. 32.32 this time for Allen. A little bit slower lap for Nadeau. Lost about a 1/10 and a half, a 32.5 for driver number 97, having matched the previous lap of the leader, but still just very minute mistakes that are beginning to add up and helping Allen to increase that margin. I suspect a good amount of these drivers will be trying to, if not all, will be trying to split this race into 3 pit stops. They want to stretch this initial run as long as possible. In turn, that'll help them make that short last run to the flag as few laps as possible, so those tires will stay fresher for longer, and they'll have as good of an advantage as they can possibly get themselves toward the end of the race. Gentry still right in the tire tracks of Miller, right around 0.4 of a second behind. Been a pretty good back and forth on lap times for these two drivers as well. Miller with a 32.7 last lap, a 32.71 for Gentry. 1/100th of a second difference in lap time. Miller swerves down to the bottom, I believe, signaling that he will indeed be coming to the pits this time by. Or not. Maybe a bit of a mind game there for the 38, trying to break the draft. Watch just how big of a difference tires make. Keep an eye on Max Bauman just behind these two and how fast he is coming on those 4 fresh tires. Like they're standing still. Bauman is absolutely gone in one corner. Bit of a back and forth for up front still. Bit of a stumble last lap for Allen. He gave up a lot of what he just gained from Nadeau's mistake. So now that gap falls back under 4 seconds now to 3.7. See another little mistake for Nadeau coming off of turn 4 there. Gets the right rear quarter panel just grazing the outside wall off the corner. Last lap, once again, faster for Nadeau, 32.39 to 32.43. Still only a matter of several hundredths of a second separating these two drivers per lap. Back and forth they go over and over again. This time, the inverse, a 300th advantage for Allen. Bell coming behind. Bell already has completed his pit cycle. He's on fresh tires, so expect him to make short work of Nadeau here. This past not for position, but Bell working his way back towards the lead lap. Now going after the leader to unlap himself. Back up here, Gentry and Miller still going at it. Miller with a piece of the turn 2 wall. You've got a bit of dirty air off of Dusty Martin's number 35 Chevrolet. Just wasn't quite expecting the understeer that he felt coming off the corner. Got just a little bit of a piece of the outside wall. Doesn't look like any real damage to the race car, but did lose a bit of momentum. Now Gentry able to close back within 2 car lengths. Both drivers hanging on for the long haul through lap 52 on the original tires and fuel they started this race with. Now Gentry gets a great run off of 4. He gets to the inside and into turn 1. We'll see what Miller has on the outside. We've seen that car be pretty trendy toward the understeer side, and he once again is able to, or has to pedal just a little bit coming off of turn 2, and that's going to cost him the spot move. Gentry up to P4 provisionally. That's going to make things nice and easy for Gentry. He's going to have a clean line of sight going into his pit stall once they come down pit lane. Number 12 going places. Gap for the lead holding pretty steady at the moment. Steve Turner still hanging on with those old tires as Dusty Martin comes by on 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. Turner has to be a little bit jealous of what he sees out of that right about now. Saw a couple big moments already for driver number 26, having gotten very loose and nearly packing the front end into the inside retaining wall off of turn 2 right around 15 laps ago. Can't imagine the tires feel a whole lot better now. That racetrack is starting to cool off, though, so that balance of that race car might be shifting just a little bit, or maybe not. We see once again gets very loose. The tail end of that car way out coming off of turn 2. It's right on board with Steve and see what he's got to deal with here. Be looking for those hand inputs, see if he gets loose coming off of turn 2 again. Is he counter steering to the right? That car wanting to loop around just a little bit. Has to be very ginger on that throttle. Has a good looking exit off of 2 that time. Gap shrinking considerably. 2/10 off the lead. Has been erased by Kyle Nadeau. Was 3.8 seconds, now down to 3.4 second territory. Nadeau doing what he is known so good for doing it, managing those tires and being very, very fast on the long run. Bauman with just a piece of the outside fence that time. Bauman last time by, just an idea of what those drivers on fresh tires have fallen off to already, running right around a 31.8 second lap. 31.79 last time by, 31.8 for Dusty Martin. So those cars on newer tires already getting pretty close to that 32 second lap mark, which is not too far off what the rest of the field had been running on those old tires, seeing right around a 32.4 second average on the top three at present. Turner hits pit road, as does Gentry. Gentry getting bowed down, smokes the front tires just a little bit. Coming onto pit lane, they're going to come down for 4 tires and fuel for the first time this afternoon at lap number 60. Very long stretch of the fuel for these drivers. They should be able to make it on one stop. Kyle Nadeau finally surrenders that lead. Bennett Allen back on track. He's exiting turn 2 now. This is what Allen is dominant at doing, is getting pace out of that car immediately. On those cold tires when so many other drivers are being very ginger with that right foot, he is hammer down immediately and just hanging on to that ragged edge, the razor's edge that car is balancing on cold tires before they're broken in on the run. Craig Bell's going to inherit that lead. Last pitted lap number 35, so looks like looking at a 3-stop race for driver number 14. So Bell's got to be hoping for sometime within the next 30-odd laps is a caution. The odds are slim with a field this size of only 9 cars. But as we found out last week, they're never zero. After pit stops, Dusty Martin cycling through to P3, Max Bauman P2. Bennett Allen cycles through to 4th. He's working on Dusty. Sorry, just getting to that 3rd spot, passing Dusty for that spot. About a 30 lap difference in tire wear. Sorry, about a 20 odd lap difference in tire wear. Which we found out the previous run, at least in the sunlight, is good for about a 1.5 seconds per lap on pace. For context, last lap was a 31 flat for Allen in the 15. Bell and Bauman both running 32.2s. So already 1.2 seconds per lap Allen is gaining. Same for Kyle Nadeau. Kyle actually running sub 31 laps, run a 30.9 last time by. So Nadeau settling in pretty nicely on these new tires. That is something we see him struggle with, is getting up to pace on new tires quickly, but seems to be doing so pretty well so far this evening. Steve Turner, the fastest car on track last time by in that 26 machine. He ran a 30.78. Right up there with some of the faster laps overall of the evening so far. Give you an idea of the last lap that these drivers pit on and the tire difference between them. 20 laps is good for about 1.2 to 1.3 seconds per lap of pace difference. Right now, Allen with the freshest tires. He has reclaimed the lead by putting Crank Bell in the rear view. Nearly a 25 lap difference in tire life between those two drivers. Bell will have to pit again before the end of this race. Bauman last came lap 40. That's an 18-lap differential, which also is going to be right around a second of lap time difference. Still hanging on. Allen able to click off consistent 31 flat lap times. So about a 32.2 to 32.3 for the drivers, the three drivers behind. The first other car on newer tires is Nadeau, came in on lap 60. Nadeau working on Martin for that fourth spot, is going to be able to sail cleanly by for the spot. Max Bauman trying to hang on. I don't think the right rear of this car is happy over the long runs with the choice of racing line. See a couple big moments out of Bauman with the rear end getting away from him just a little bit. It happened last time by, which resulted in about a 0.3 of a second loss on that lap time. Nadeau closing in very rapidly, should catch him on the back half of this lap. Bauman staying pretty committed to that high side, though. Has been running it all evening, figuring it out. As the sun fully sets and this track cools down to its fullest potential, I do believe that line will begin to come in a little bit more. We could see some preparation for the late stages of this race out of Bauman. Nadeau able to cleanly make that pass on the bottom side, move Nadeau up to P3. Two seconds the gap to second place Crank Bell. Four round of pit stops for Miller relegates him all the way back into the 9th position. A 45.5 second pit lane time cost him a lot of track position under green flag conditions, especially seeing right around a 41 second average for the rest of the field on that pit lane time overall. An extra 4 seconds of time spent on pit lane results in quite a substantial margin on the racetrack, as you can see now. 24 seconds back from Gentry, who he had been battling just before the pit cycle. Sorry, not 24 seconds. 2.5 seconds the gap. Barry Knapp, driver 42, continues to pick up spots. Started the race in 9th position, has worked his way up to 7th, getting one more over Gentry. in that round of pit stops. Pit lane time just a little bit slower, but the Spectre Nap was able to get up to speed very quickly on those cold tires. Turner, another of the late pitting cars, hasn't quite made up the same ground as we saw out of Allen and Nadeau. Those lap times have plateaued just a little bit, but we've seen some speed late. The last couple laps for the 26 car have been right in the 31.6 to 31.7 range. That is about a tenth faster than both Nadeau and Allen. The lights have come on here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Begin to see those shadows draping off the race cars through some of the corners. Conditions will change as well. We'll see what that means for the long run speed of some of these drivers. Allen still holds a lap time advantage, but past 3 laps has been consistently half a tenth faster than Nadeau. In second, Bell still holding station in third place, has definitely been able to manage the tires on number 14 better this run than in the previous run, is holding in right around the 32.5-second lap time, which has been faster than Bauman, who has fresher tires on his number 89 Mustang. We see what that high lane has been doing to that 89, just isn't quite doing anything for the tire longevity on that Road Ranger Mustang. Speaking of Bauman, he's going to get put back to the 5th spot by Dusty Martin, who makes his way by off of 4, just squeezes by. These two have managed to find each other quite a few times throughout the night. Martin currently the fastest out of the drivers who came on lap number 40. Which is all well and good, but here comes number 26 on even fresher tires. Came in lap number 59. 19 lap fresher rubber than the 2 cars ahead. He's finally making his way up through the field. Currently rides in P6, but he's got 2 what should be easy passes out the windshield. Let's ride along as the sun has gone down. The drivers on a 2-stop strategy beginning to come down pit lane for what could be their final stop of the evening. That includes Martin, Bauman, who surrendered the 4th and 5th positions to come down pit lane. Lap time tides have begun to turn for the top spot. 32.2 the last lap for your leader. 31.89 the last lap for Kyle Nadeau in the 97 Chevrolet. Starting to see that long run pace we've come to expect out of the 97 start to show itself on the back half of this run. Will he be able to keep up that momentum throughout the rest of this race? Both those drivers should be able to go the distance on fuel. Don't expect another pit stop out of the 15 or the 97 unless we see another caution on the racetrack. Both should be able to make the full distance on just one stop. Mental note, gap currently sitting at 5.4 seconds. We'll check in a few laps and see what kind of progress Nadeau is able to make on the lead. Right now, Zach Miller still holding right around 2.5 seconds behind Gentry, trying to make something happen in that 38. Hasn't quite had the pace we would have expected out of him here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Sorry, my old NASCAR fan brain is starting to kick in again. Called Lowe's Motor Speedway for quite a number of years before reverting back to Charlotte Motor Speedway in the late 2010s. Gap now 3.4. Gentry rides in fourth currently. Gentry, another one of those cars that should be able to go the distance on fuel. Came in pit lap number 59. So should be good for about 118 laps. As well clear of our scheduled distance. In fact, as the track has fallen into full shadow and the lights have come on, the 12 is coming alive. Has been consistently faster than Steve Turner ahead. It is an 8.5 second gap to that third position, but he has been consistently a tenth or two faster than the 26. We'll see if he's able to hang on to that pace. 42 is not for position. He's riding a lap down and has come onto pit lane for his last stop of the day on lap number 79. So 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on that 42. Miller hanging in there, waiting for any sort of stumble out of the 12. Has held that gap right at 3 seconds for about the last 20 laps and counting. We've seen these two drivers have been very evenly matched throughout the entire evening, have not gotten too far away from each other. Miller has made a little bit of that ground lost on pit lane back up. He had been behind to the tune of about 5 seconds at one point and has brought that back down to about 3 where it is stabilized. LGB check back in on that lead. 10 laps to go, that gap was 5.45 seconds. Now the gap 4.6. Nadeau taking large chunks out of that lead. Nearly a second taken out in the past 10 laps. But will he push the tires too hard? Will he have enough to go the distance? Exactly 20 laps to go this time by. At the current pace is not going to be able to get there. We mentioned about a second of gain in 10 laps. We have 20 laps remaining and 4.5 seconds to make up. So something big has to happen. We got to have some kind of stumble out of the 15 for Nadeau to get there. We've seen it before, but will Bennett Allen in the number 15 slip up tonight, give Nadeau the chance to break into victory lane? Or really hang on to win race number 9 on the season? Nadeau not in the playoffs, came up just shy 2 races ago. It's just here to play spoiler right now. Will he be able to make up that distance? Gap still hanging around 4.5 seconds. The lap times have been almost matched the last couple laps between the 97 and the 15. Very good turn 1 for Nadeau that time. He's able to absolutely paint that blue line on the bottom of the racetrack. Gains about a 10th through turns 1 and 2. Taking a look back at that battle for 4th spot. Miller still working on the back of Gentry, trying to keep him in sight. The gap now inside of 2 seconds. 1.8 seconds is the gap. Miller hoping to hang on to this spot as well, because he's got Crank Bell and Dusty Martin coming up quick on fresh tires in 6th and 7th positions. They're running about a half second quicker per lap. So that will be very tight as well. If Miller keeps up the lap times he's currently laying down, he and Gentry both with 32.45 second laps. 32.4s all the way 1st through 5th last time by. That is how equal everybody has been here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The man who's been absolutely perfect so far is lurking just behind Miller. Poised to put him a lap down, and that is Bennett Allen. Gap now stretching back out for that lead battle. Was down to 4.5 seconds, now back to 4.7, slowly stretching it back out on Kyle Nadeau. Those cooler temperatures have helped the 15th to manage tires better into the long runs, as we've seen several times before this season. Has stabilized that tire wear, taken away a little bit of the advantage 97 has on the long run. We're seeing that play out here late race. Nadeau faster by just 3/100ths last time by. Not going to be enough to get there unless we see a big mistake out of the 15. Miller and Gentry still separated by 1.8 seconds. Viewing the gap between Gentry and Miller, about a half a straight between them. And a view behind to Crank Bell, right around a full straightaway behind. Bell with substantially faster lap times still, but is going to have to get there in just 10 laps. Behind Bell, Dusty Martin starting to make his way up there on his fresh tires as well. He's been just slightly faster than Bell, but will he have time to make it happen? 9 laps remain here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now to 7 laps remain. Martin working ever closer to Bell for that 6th spot. And both drivers trying to make it to Zach Miller before the conclusion of the race to take over that 5th spot. They're running out of time to make that happen. The tire fall off has just about equalized between the older tires and the current tires. Worth noting as we come down to the conclusion of tonight's race, with this victory that will all but seal the championship for this driver right here. Mr. Bennett Allen in the number 15, who's been all but flawless all season. 8 race wins so far, potentially looking at 9 in just 5. Now 4 laps here in Concord, North Carolina. We'll need only to start next week's race to clinch the championship. Nadeau has cut down this lead substantially, but is unable to get around the 35. Is taking another full second out of the lead of Allen, but is not going to have time to get there with just 3 laps remaining. Martin still trying to get by Bell. That is for position between the 35 and the 14. Coming to 2 laps to go. 6th place in sight, in the crosshairs for Dusty Martin. He's run him down from a 2.5 seconds behind. Now just 3 car lengths behind Crank Bell in the 14. Off of 2, it's a good run for both drivers. Better run for the 35. Closes it down to 2 car lengths as they come down toward turn 3. To the inside goes Martin. Still the mid lane for Bell. Martin closes to half a car length through the mid corner. Off of turn 4, still holding half a car length. 1 to go is shown. White flag in the air. Bennett Allen will win. Nadeau takes another second off that lead. The lead now 2.6 seconds. Allen will claim race number 9 on the season. Race win number 9 as he comes off of turn 4. But the battle is to the line for Crank Bell and Dusty Martin. Everything he could send has been sent, but Martin comes up just short for that 6th spot. Bell is able to hang on for 6th. Miller able to hang on for 5th. Gentry comes home P4. Steve Turner P3. Kyle Nadeau P2. And Bennett Allen, driver number 15, is going to finish 1st place here at Charlotte Motor Speedway with another commanding victory. Post-race celebrations beginning for Allen. The other driver is beginning to file into the green room for interviews. We'll have those on deck for you in just a moment. All right, we'll go ahead and get some drivers in here. We'll have our post-race interviews here for the Thursday Night Nitro Series. It was a long strategic race at Charlotte. Drivers having to manage their tires and fuel very, very cautiously throughout the course of the run and adapt to an ever-changing racetrack. But it's Steve Turner who brings it home, P3 in the number 26. It was a very long race, probably a bit of a hot lap session for some guys, but we saw a little bit of a slow start for you after that first round of pit stops. We knew it was going to be tight for everyone on that one-stop strategy to make it through, but we saw you put the traffic behind you eventually and bring it all the way back up to third place. Steve, take us through your night and what was your keys to making it into the top three here at Charlotte?
Yeah, it was track position seemed to be pretty big tonight. Starting up second next to Bennett, I was able to stay up once Crank got in front of me, got loose, and then they kind of fell back, and then Kyle just blew my doors off, and felt like I had short run speed tonight, which is something I'm not used to. I'm used to the long run where the car comes to me and I feel more comfortable, but the longer the run went on, there's did not like the way the car was handling it, pushing tight on corner entry and center, and then just snappy free on exit. I couldn't get a feel for it, so I was hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, we happened to snag just a few moments on camera, getting real loose off turn two there. The car definitely didn't look comfortable through that toward the end of that first run whatsoever. Through the second run, did the car end up tightening up on you as the track cooled down, or did it tend to trend more free?
It was just about the same, honestly. Just free on exit. As soon as you got to the throttle, if you got to it like 10 feet too early on exit, it would back end would kick out, and that was when you saw me down in the apron out of turn two a couple times. I thought for sure I was seeing the inside fence, but was able to save it and come home P3.
Yeah, solid day throughout to be sure. Nothing to be upset about whatsoever, but you've been Mr. Consistency throughout the second half of this season. Unfortunately, had to miss last week's race for good reason, of course, but would love to see you up in the mix, just given your what a great second half of the season we've seen out of you. Have been real consistent getting these top threes pretty much every time you're on the track, so hopefully we'll see you next season actually able to compete the whole schedule and have a shot at the title tonight, next time around.
Yeah, I hope so. It's going to be a big maybe. We're having a baby girl Monday, Tuesday sometime. We're getting deuced Monday, so I might not make Nashville. We'll see, but I got a lot going on in life right now.
For sure, fast pace on and off track. Sounds like you're gonna have a busy week ahead of you, so no worries whatsoever. If we don't see you in Nashville, we'll be sure to congratulate you if we find out what happens before then. So, well, congratulations in advance to forthcoming baby. That's exciting news, of course. But congrats again on the P3 for the evening. We'll go ahead and let you go and tend to the tend to the family.
All right, thanks, Adam. Congrats to my teammate Bennett getting number 9, I think. Yeah, number 9.
It is number 9.
And then we had Gentry finish P4, so could have got Kyle all the way. Could have had a 1, 2, 3, but good day for the team. Good day for me.
Absolutely. So congrats on P3 and again on the child, and we'll maybe see you in Nashville.
All right, thanks, Adam.
All right, that's Steve Turner finishing P3 here tonight. In just a second, we will grab Colorado finisher, second place finisher here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Had a solid night all throughout. Had some pretty good pace firing off after that pit stop. We weren't quite sure what to expect there, but ended up looking like you had pretty good short run pace. But do you think that might have hurt you on the long run? We didn't really see the long run tire advantage that we saw the first run from me. Kyle, take us through that second half of the race and what your thoughts were.
I just got it way too close on fuel there. And, one lap it would be 0.1 to the good. Next lap it'd be half a lap short. So it was just trying to manage saving throttle, saving the tires. The track changed a lot once it started darkness came. It was a little more forgiving on the right front and a little more aggressive on the right rear. So it was just trying to manage that throttle. And then once Crank and Dusty got behind me, it was easier to save fuel there. And talking to Bennett, he burned up his right front trying to maintain that 6-second gap. But yeah, well, it is what it is. Figuring these cars out, but go figure, it's the end of the season, so I get to move on to an old vehicle. But I'm starting to look forward to racing that again. So all in all, good night. Started what I think 7th, made my way up to 2nd. So a little bit of passing, 9 cars. It's a smaller field, but I mean clean and green right to the end, and we're done by all before 10:30. Hey, I'll take it.
Small field. It was all about track position all night. We were keeping a very close eye on those lap times from first place all the way down to ninth, and they were nearly identical all the way down through the field. Everybody running right within a tenth or two of each other, all the way down through the running order. So great job managing that track position. We saw you get going, had flawless pit stop and get going really well afterwards, which kept you, as close as you could be to Bennett at the end. Maybe a couple laps we could have seen something different. About the last 5 laps, took 2-second chunk out of that lead, even with dirty air in front of you with Crank and Dusty, but still were able to manage that pace. And what could have been, once again, unfortunately, starting to stack up the second places like Sheldon Creed at this point. But
Well, I mean, I got 1 win this season. That's more than he's got in his Xfinity career. So
this
doing
is
something a
very
little bit
true.
better
You
than him.
got a leg up there for sure. But going into Nashville, how you feeling about that track? It's kind of an intermediate that races a little bit like a short track.
It's yeah, so like it's one of those tracks where it looks like a cookie cutter like Vegas or, Charlotte or whatnot, but those walls will get you if you're not paying attention. You're coming up out of the dog leg and you think like Kansas where oh the wall's pretty far. Nope, you're into the wall and your lap's ruined. It'd probably be a 1 lane dominant track, but I really I like concrete track, so I'm looking forward to Nashville. I'd say looking forward to a championship run, but Mr. Bennett sewed it up one race early in Charlotte, so congrats to him on that one. Hard fought season, 9 wins so far. Yeah, just kid's a hell of a race car driver.
Well, I'll tell you one thing you have going into the next race. It is 2 weeks from now, but all of us Americans are going to be getting fat and sleepy on turkey for the next week. So
Oh yeah, we call that regular
could,
Thursday.
could have that slowing them down a bit going into Nashville. So I think might have a better shot there on everybody.
You
A
never
few
know.
extra pounds in the car.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that. Hopefully see you back at Nashville, but great job. Ran a nearly perfect race. Brought it home 2nd place. Looking nice there, representing Great Lakes Racing well as usual.
Thank you. Yeah, I love Charlotte and just yeah, Bennett's on one right now and there's no beating him.
That might be true. Like we mentioned before, he has only to start next week to clinch the title. So we'll be looking for that next week. We'll get the updated points out for everybody. But until then, Kyle, if there's anyone you'd like to shout out before we hang it up for the evening.
Of course, thank you. I would like to thank you for Adam for broadcasting the race. BoomTube for being the channel to watch the incredible guys of Thursday Night Thunder racing every Thursday, except for next week. Everybody out there watching, I want to thank my incredible, lovely fiance for letting me do this on every Thursday night. I love you and I appreciate you. I want to thank my parents for watching and supporting my online racing career and my real racing career when I was doing it. Everybody out here for racing, nice, clean, awesome racing when there was side by side racing. Everybody out there for watching and giving us some fans and whatnot to cheer for. And I missed something. Sponsors, of course, they keep the lights on in this place. Devin Mains Designs for sponsoring the series. Déjà Revél for sponsoring the replays. Sorry there wasn't many replays tonight. Yeah, I think I got everything. Hope Bennett enjoys his other diecast.
I'm sure he will. We're gonna have to figure out a way to shoehorn in a case that he can put them all into some kind of prize pool. So, yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely gonna have a collection going. We'll make him pay for that one himself. We're tired of giving stuff away at this point.
Yeah, you get paid for that
But
one.
speaking of giving stuff away, thanks to Devin and Sugar Maple Designs for sponsoring the playoffs and offering these awesome signed die-casts, which is so cool that we're able to give away something with even a little more added value on top of what's already a pretty expensive die-cast in the first place. So, yeah, thanks, Devin, for coming along with the ride here in the playoffs for us, and thanks, Kyle, for taking the time to talk with us as always. Unfortunately, one shy of the top, but we'll get him next time.
Hey, third last week, second this week. There's only one more spot for improvement.
Absolutely. I like that attitude. But that's been Kyle Nadeau, finisher P2 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Thanks for the time, Kyle.
Thanks for having me.
All right, last but certainly not least, because he's on top of not only the leaderboard, but he's on top of the charts here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Your winner for this evening, Mr. Bennett Allen. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm tired, Adam. Had a long day at work.
I'm seeing a recurring theme here.
Well, yeah, when you work 13 hours and come home to slap a Oculus 3 on your forehead just to race 115 laps, think you'd be tired.
Absolutely. No breaks tonight, no cautions. It's all go, go, go.
Yeah, but I had fun. I mean, it was 115 laps flag to flag, so I like those kind of races. I don't get those a lot, definitely when you do officials. The only time you go flag to flag is if you do road course racing, and so I had a lot of fun. I like the day to night transition, and I didn't feel like it played it in my favor because the tight track got tighter, and my right front was like, I don't know, like 25 by the time I crossed the start finish line, probably.
Yeah, we did see that gap start to evaporate pretty quickly there within the last 5 laps that you held it on just enough to the end. You made as many laps as you needed to hold Kyle off there. He had his hands full with lap traffic in the meantime anyhow, so I think you had a pretty safe margin, but overall ran a pretty perfect race. Is it your strategy throughout the whole thing to take that just the single stop strategy, and how close were you on fuel?
Well, once I realized I could make it to halfway, I knew there was no like fear of being short. And so I could split it 58 and 58, and that's like what I did. Because technically it's like 58 and a half. So crossed the line for 58, and so I pitted coming to lap 59, and I think I still had 2 laps of fuel when I crossed the line. So there was no fear whatsoever of going out of gas. Talked to Kyle after the race, and he was like, "Yeah, like I thought you were gonna be short and like saving." I was like, "I didn't have to save a drop. Like I knew I could just go from the beginning, and the track kind of got a little bit faster with the sun going down, so I was technically saving even more gas, and it just worked out. And I'm glad I could have made it on one stop. I don't think it would even, like, I don't think it was possible to do 2 stops, even with my speed. So it was either one stop or nothing. So
speed indeed, because that's win number 9 on the season, and you got a shot for 10 next week at Nashville. How you feeling about? Well, sorry, not next week. In 2 weeks at Nashville. How you feeling about your chances there?
I feel pretty good. I think I clinched the title tonight, even when I started. So it'll be a good race just to have, no pressure and have fun. And I like Nashville a lot. It's another one of my favorite tracks. So, yeah, I'm glad we get a week off for Thanksgiving. I got to work Thanksgiving this year, both like the day before and the day after. So, no turkey for me unless someone brings it at work. But yeah, I feel pretty good. It's a night race. It's Nashville. It's kind of flat, but race is like a mile and a half, so it'll be fun.
Fun indeed. You will be if you haven't clinched, you're very close. You're right within, like, Dusty would have to, or whoever is, I'm not sure if Dusty, let's see, Max finished behind him, so yeah, it would still be Dusty in second. He would have to get max points to even have a chance. And I think that would be only a 1 or 2 margin, but yeah, just starting next week, or starting Nashville, will definitely clinch the title, so you will have your choice of those awesome 3 diecasts from Sugar Maple Designs and Devin to choose from. You already got one in your head that you're thinking about picking out for yourself? In addition to the Elliott Sadler one from tonight, of course.
I was telling Devin, like, you know how he's in my teammate. I was telling him before the race that
Save on
like,
shipping
I
and
was
just send them
really-
all at once.
well, that's what he's doing for one. But also I was actually really excited for that Elliott Sadler diecast because I like that car a lot. So I don't know, out of the 3 I'm gonna choose, it's kind of a really hard decision. But I'll definitely let the people know which one I do end up choosing. I'm trying to find the Discord with the 3. I don't know which one it's in. It's gonna get interesting once I find it.
Let's see, I might even be able to throw them on broadcast for you in just a second.
I'm trying to find it too. We're gonna do this together.
Will indeed.
I'm sure it's pinned.
Pardon the interruption, audience. This will be good information for them to have as well, be able to see what's on offer by our great sponsors. All right, the first option on the screen is Carl Edwards, number 99. Signed diecast.
See, I don't. That's so hard because I like Carl Edwards a lot, but like, my family, my brother was a big Jimmy Johnson fan back in the day. I'm pretty sure there's a Jimmy Johnson diecast in there too, right?
There is indeed. Let's see. We can find that one. That is here. Yes, it is. This one, which I believe is either a 2011 or 2012, which would be a championship year. I believe that one actually might be signed, if I recall, by Jimmy and Chad.
Oh, that makes that decision even harder.
And,
So this is unfair. In the great scheme of things, this is unfair.
And then finally, option number 3, Tony Stewart. I believe 2000 28 Grand Prix. Also signed, of course.
My gut's gonna probably say the Jimmy Johnson one just because it is like a championship year car. Yeah, I'll probably end up choosing that one. Plus it's signed by both Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson. Like, that's so freaking sick. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy that I've won so many diecasts this year. I thought I didn't think the season was gonna go the way it did, and I'm just very, very thankful that, you know, I was able to race this year with these guys, and all these guys are really good. Don't get me wrong; they're amazing drivers. It's just unfortunate that this year we're racing literally my best car in the whole iRacing service. I've been racing this car since 2020, since I got the sim, and I used to race it like when I was in high school, like 5, 6 times a week, and I would do just like B opens, and that means like it's almost 100 laps every race. So I got acquainted to it fast, and in 2022 I won my first ever league race championship in a different league. I think I only won like 4 races that year, but the championship 4 was really tight, so it was really stressful and really, really fun. And ever since then, you know, I've been racing top split, and so when you race top split, obviously it's going to get pretty difficult to even just win. So you know, you learn a lot when you race top split and you watch those really, really good guys, and you race with them, and so it's just a lot of practice. I don't practice during the week like I used to just because I'm so busy. I work 13 hours. When I get home, iRacing is my last thought. I'll just end up playing like 2K or Madden just to pass the time before I have to go to bed. So, yeah, I'm just really thankful that I got the race this year, and I think we're doing trucks next year, so that's going to be a really close season in my opinion, just because I don't do as hot in the trucks as I do in these cars, but still fun otherwise.
Absolutely. We had a great time with those in our first first season of Thursday Night Nitro, and it was very competitive throughout. And it's trucks aren't everybody's cup of tea, but they're a nice blend of being a driver's car like the Xfinity car, and also not being too hard to drive. So I like to think of them as a good blend of Xfinity and the new ARCA car, where they're not super loose. They're not trying to kill you constantly, but they're still require a little bit of finesse to be fast in.
Yeah, for sure. They're gonna get another Aero update, as far as I know, in the next season too.
They are. That was announced in the dev blog last week, so that'll be a kind of a curveball for everybody. So while they'll be familiar, they'll also be a little bit different. So.
Well, I'm just excited to see how realistic it is. Like I'm a big fan of when the real NASCAR drivers give their input. And a lot of them said the ARCA car sucks. The Xfinity car is pretty close, and then the Cup car is pretty close. So for the truck to have like intense aero work and like going into like almost probably a literal wind tunnel to figure out all the data is really freaking sick, in my opinion. And I'm really excited to see how they race next season with the like how close it's going to be.
Seemed like they put a pretty strong emphasis to mention that they're putting a focus on the skew and the offset that the real bodies have. Because you look at those trucks in real life, and they are a twisted. They're like the old Gen 4 Cup cars used to be. They're a twisted, bent 30 degrees to the left chassis, and they're all twisted. And they said they're gonna focus on that side force pretty good and trying to get that modeled as well as possible. So you should be able to rip those things on the edge pretty good, from what at least they're telling us now.
Like it's interesting because you can really see it when they race at like super speedways. That's when the skew is like wild, and it's even funnier with like the smaller teams who like go too much on the skew, and it looks like the car's just like pointed at like a 45-degree angle towards the inside wall. So that's gonna be really fun to see, and I hope it's so realistic to the fact, like you can already kind of have it, but like when you're packing air in someone's rear, like you have to be like right up there, almost making contact. When like real life, like how physics work is you're like pushing the air molecules to like the rear bumper, so you're packing air molecules. Like you don't have that kind of like realism in iRacing. So I'm curious to see how they like model that. Because me personally, I don't like making contact to move somebody out of the way. I like putting my right front on their left rear and see if they can save it. Like that's what racing
manipulate them without making physical contact, which you definitely don't want to do on iRacing either, because you run the risk of having netcode ruin your race if you do get close enough. So being able to manipulate them with the arrow is definitely a great tool to have.
So it's gonna be interesting, and I'm really excited to race the trucks. I don't like them as much, like I said, but I'm still excited to be able to do it with you guys again next year, and we'll see how many diecasts I can end up winning next season too. But obviously, we still have one more race to go, and maybe I can get 10 wins and win 10 out of the 12. That'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely, that would be a massive achievement. Kind of bookend the season nicely. Win the first and the last race. Before we go, though, I do have to mention, as a bonus for anybody else who happens to be watching, Devin with Sugar Maple Designs has just messaged me. He said we will be giving away one additional diecast next week for any driver who completes half the laps. It will be a random drawing for a number 8 Bud Dale Jr. car signed by Tony Uri Jr. So just going to go ahead and throw that out there going into next week for anyone who wants to attend. So hopefully maybe we'll draw back some of the guys who've been absent for a while. But I'm sorry to Steve if you happen to be gone for Nashville, because you'll be missing out on that. But that is the message that we've received. So yet another generous giveaway by one of our sponsors. So that's awesome.
I just find it funny how he said in the Discord message that I'm not eligible for it. It's just really funny to me. I mean, I'm cool. I'm probably gonna choose the Jimmy Johnson diecast anyways, so I think that's just as cool. Even though Tony Jr. is that's a pretty cool signature to get anyways. But I find it funny how Zach was like, nope, you're not eligible. I'm fine with that. I think it's fair. you know, I cleaned Devin of all of his diecasts this year, so it's only fair for someone else to finally get one.
Absolutely. But well deserved, because you've been class of the field and fast every single week and proven it yet again. Here tonight at Charlotte, a bit of an extended interview session, but we really appreciate you taking the time and appreciate you coming here and racing with us here in the Thursday Night Nitro Series. It's been a pleasure, Bennett, and we will see you after the Thanksgiving break at Nashville.
Heck yeah, go Lions.
Go Lions, indeed. All right, that's going to do it for interviews tonight. And we're going to go ahead and wrap up this broadcast. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors before we head off, as Kyle was so gracious as to partially do for us already. Namely, among them being who I just mentioned, Devin Gentry and Sugar Maple Designs, being so gracious as to donate all of these signed die casts, which just makes it so much cooler for NASCAR collectors to have that piece that's actually been through the hands of their favorite drivers. Of course, you have to mention Déjà Revél, who sponsors our replay camera and a couple races throughout the season. Go ahead and check out their website, DéjaRevél.com, if you want to look into their boudoir photography services in the Pennsylvania region, somewhere over on the East Coast. If you're in the general vicinity, I think it's definitely worth a trip if you are interested in those services. A little bit of drive won't hurt for some awesome photographs that you'll be able to cherish forever. And of course, we got to mention Devin Main's Designs, DMD. Mention code TNN for 20% off your livery design from Devin. Devin, we haven't seen you in the second half of the season, bud, but hopefully we'll have you back next season. We miss seeing that great-looking number 5 Chevrolet on the racetrack. And that's going to do it for this evening. As always, I've been Adam LeVox here, providing the live coverage for the Thursday Night Nitro Series on behalf of the Boom Tube. I hope everyone out there is doing awesome and that you all have a great Thanksgiving. And we will see you in 2 weeks for our final race of the season, race number 12 at Nashville Super Speedway. But until then, everybody have a good holiday, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.